Blackburn Rovers Football Club @๊blækbʜrn nouveau registered trademark {LZ/ is an English professional association football club based in the town of Blackburn, Lancashire. The team competes in the Football League Championship from the 2012 Euro 13 season. They were relegated from the Premier League, the top tier of English football, at the end of the 2011 Euro 12 season. The club are currently managed by Gary Bowyer after previous manager Michael Appleton was dismissed on March 19, 2013. Appleton was the third manager to have lost his job in 6 months after Steve Kean and Henning Berg. The club was established in 1875, becoming a founding member of the Football League in 1888. It is one of only 3 clubs to have been both a founder member of the Football League and a Premier League. In 1890 Rovers moved to its permanent home at Ewood Park. Prior to the formation of the Premier League in 1992, most of the club's successes were before 1930, when it had gained League and FA Cup trophies on several occasions. Relegation in 1965 Euro 66 was followed by 26 successive seasons of football outside the top flight. In 1992, Blackburn gained promotion to the new Premier League a year after being taken over by local steel baron Jack Walker, who installed Kenny Dalglish as manager. In 1995, Blackburn became Premier League champions, having spent millions of pounds on players like Alan Shearer and Chris Sutton. However, the title-winning team was quickly split up and, in the 1998 Euro 99 season, the club was relegated. It was promoted back to the Premier League 2 years later, in the 2000 Euro 01 season, just after Walker's death. During this time it has qualified for the UEFA Cup 4 times, once as League Cup winners, twice as the Premier League's 6th-placed team and once via the Intertoto Cup. The 2009 Euro 10 season marked the club's 72nd non-consecutive year in the top flight. Blackburn are currently one of only 5 clubs to have won the Premier League, along with Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, and Manchester City. The club's motto is Arte Labor, which the club translates as by skill and hard work in Latin. History: early years, the club was founded following a meeting, at the Leisure Hotel, Blackburn, on November 5, 1875. The meeting was organised by 2 boys namely John Lewis and Arthur Constantine. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss the possibility of forming a football club to play under association rules. The first match played by Blackburn Rovers took place in Church, Lancashire on December 18, 1875 and was a 1-1 draw. On September 28, 1878, Blackburn Rovers became one of 23 clubs to form the Lancashire Football Association. On November 1, 1879 the club played in the FA Cup for the first time, beating the Tyne Association Football Club 5-1. Rovers were eventually put out of the competition in the 3rd round after suffering a heavy 6-0 defeat by Nottingham Forest. On March 25, 1882 the club won through to the final of the FA Cup against the Old Etonians. Blackburn Rovers was the first provincial team to reach the final, but the result was a 1-0 defeat by the Old Etonians. Rovers finally won the FA Cup on March 29, 1884 with a 2-1 victory over the Scottish team Queen's Park. The same teams played the FA Cup final again the next season, with Blackburn Rovers again emerging victorious, with a 2-0 score. Rovers repeated this success yet again the next season, winning the final replay 2-0 against West Bromwich Albion. For this 3 in a row of FA Cup victories, the club was awarded a specially commissioned Silver Shield and given the unique privilege of displaying the club crest on its corner flags. The 1885 Euro 86 season was the birth of the legal professional footballer, and Blackburn Rovers spent £615 on player wages for the season. Football League commences. Blackburn Rovers were founder members of the Football League in 1888. Blackburn Rovers again reached the FA Cup final on March 29, 1890 at the Kennington Oval. The club claimed the trophy for the 4th time, by beating Sheffield Wednesday a hefty 6-1 with left forward William Townley scoring 3 goals and becoming the first player to achieve a hat-trick in the FA Cup final. The 1890–91 season saw Blackburn Rovers win the FA Cup for the fifth time against Notts County with a 3-1 victory. During the 1897–98 season the club stayed in the First Division only as the result of a decision to increase the number of teams from 16 to 18. The season did, however, mark the beginning of Bob Crompton's 45-year association with the club, both as a player and eventually as an FA Cup winning manager. Early 20th century, Blackburn Rovers continued to struggle during the early years of the 20th century, but the results began a gradual improvement. Major renovations were made to Ewood Park. In 1905 the Darwen end was covered at a cost of £1,680 and the new Nuthall stand was opened on New Year's Day 1907. During the first 3 decades of the 20th century, Blackburn Rovers were still considered a top side in the English League. They were First Division champions in 1911 a Euro 12 and 1913 a Euro 14, and FA Cup winners in 1927 a Euro 28 with a 3-1 victory against Huddersfield Town, but the FA Cup win was their last major trophy for nearly 70 years. Mid-20th century. Blackburn Rovers maintained a respectable mid-table position in the First Division until they were finally relegated from the top flight in the 1935 a Euro 36 season. When the league resumed after the war, Blackburn Rovers were relegated in their second season. At this time the tradition of burying a coffin began. The club remained in the second division for the following 10 years. After promotion in 1958, they again returned to the mid-table position they had occupied in the earlier part of the century. During this time, they seldom made a serious challenge for a major trophy a Euro, although they did reach the 1960 FA Cup final when managed by Scott Daly Duncan. Rovers lost this game 3-0 to Wolverhampton Wanderers after playing most of the game with only 10 men on the field following an injury to Dave Whelan, who broke a leg. There were brief hopes of a return to glory in the 1963 Euro 64 season, when a remarkable 8-2 away win over West Ham United in East London on Boxing Day took them to the top of the league. However, their lead of the league was short-lived and they finished the season some way down the table as the title was seized by a Liverpool side who would record a further 12 league titles over the next 26 years, while Blackburn's fortunes took a very different route. They were again relegated from the First Division in 1966 and began a 26-year exile from the top division. 1970s and 1980s. During the 1970s, Blackburn Rovers bounced between the second and third divisions, winning the third division title in 1975, but never mounted a challenge for promotion to the First Division despite the efforts of successive managers to put the club back on track, and fell back into the third division in 1979. They went up as runners-up in the third division in 1980 and have remained in the upper 2 tiers of the English League ever since. A second successive promotion was nearly achieved the following year, but the club missed out on goal difference, and promotion-winning manager Howard Kendall moved to Everton that summer. Kendall's successor, Bobby Saxton, only managed mid-table finishes for the next 3 seasons, then nearly achieved promotion in the 1984 Euro 85 season, but a poor finish the following year followed by an abysmal start to the 1986 Euro 87 season cost Saxton his job. Saxton was replaced by Don Mackay, who steered them to a decent finish that season and also victory in the Full Members' Cup. In the following 3 seasons Mackay re-established Blackburn as promotion contenders, but they fell just short of promotion each time. The closest they came was in 1988 Euro 89 reached the second division playoff final in its last ever season of the home-away 2-legged format Euro, but lost to Crystal Palace. A defeat in the 1989 Euro 90 second division playoff semi-finals brought more frustration to Ewood Park, but the following season saw the club taken over by local steelworks owner and lifelong supporter Jack Walker. 1990s. Following the Walker takeover, Rovers finished 19th in the second division at the end of the 1990 Euro 91 season, but the new owner had made millions of pounds available to spend on new players and appointed Kenny Dalglish as manager in October 1991. Blackburn secured promotion to the new FA Premier League at the end of 1991 Euro 92 season as playoff winners, ending 26 years outside the top flight. Rovers made headlines in the summer of 1992 by paying an English record fee of £3.5 million for the 22-year-old Southampton and England centre-forward Alan Shearer. After finishing fourth in 1992 Euro 93 and runners-up in 1993 Euro 94, they went on to win the Premier League title in 1994 Euro 95. The title chase went down to the last game of the season, but despite Rovers losing to Liverpool they edged out rivals Manchester United to win the championship. Kenny Dalglish moved upstairs to the position of Director of Football at the end of the Premier League winning season, and handed over the reins to his assistant Ray Harford. Blackburn Rovers made a poor start to the 1995 Euro 96 season, and found themselves in the bottom half for most of the first half of the season. Rovers also struggled in the Champions League and finished bottom of their group with just 4 points. A terrible start to the 1996 Euro 97 Premier League campaign saw Harford resign in late October with the club bottom of the division, having failed to win any of their first 10 games. Relegation looked a real possibility, just 2 seasons after winning the league. After an abortive attempt to bring in Sven Ran Eriksson as manager, long-serving coach Tony Parks took over as manager for the rest of the campaign, narrowly steering the side to survival. That summer, the manager's job was taken by Roy Hodgson, who joined the club from Indonesia. UEFA Cup football was secured with a 6th-place finish. However, Rovers made a poor start to the 1998 Euro 99 campaign and Hodgson was sacked in December less than an hour after a 2-0 home defeat to bottom side Southampton, a result that locked Rovers in the relegation zone. He was replaced as manager by Brian Kidd. However, he could not save them as the club slipped away. Relegation was confirmed with a scoreless draw at home to Manchester United in the penultimate game of the season. 2000s. In 1999 Euro 2000 Rovers began the season as promotion favourites, but with the club hovering just above the Division 1 relegation zone Brian Kidd was sacked in October and replaced in March by Graham Souness. Jack Walker died just after the start of the 2000 Euro 01 season, and the club dedicated its promotion challenge in memory of their benefactor. Fittingly, they returned to the Premier League after a much improved season, finishing second behind Fulham. In 2001 Euro 02, Blackburn records signing Andy Cole was bought in for £8 million, and Rovers won their first ever League Cup by beating Tottenham Hotspur 2 Euro 1 at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, Cole scoring the winner in the 69th minute. The following season Rovers finished 6th to qualify for the UEFA Cup for the second season running. Souness left just after the start of 2004 Euro 05 to take charge at Newcastle, and he was replaced by Welsh national coach Mark Hughes. Hughes secured Rovers Premier League survival for the 2004 Euro 05 season as well as an FA Cup semi-final against Arsenal, with Rovers finishing 15th once again. He led the team to 6th the following season and Rovers' third European qualification in 5 years. Rovers reached the semi-final of the 2006 Euro 07 FA Cup, but lost to Chelsea in extra time, and finished that season's league in 10th, qualifying for the Intertoto Cup, which led to a short run in the 2007 Euro 08 UEFA Cup. In May 2008, Mark Hughes left Blackburn Rovers for the vacancy at Manchester City. He was replaced by Paul Ince. Ince's first job was to persuade some of the want-away players to stay, with Archie Knox coming in as his assistant. Ince's time in charge started well, but following a run of 11 games without a win he was sacked in December 2008. Sam Allardyce was appointed as Ince's replacement and in 2009 Euro 10 he led the team to a 10th place finish and a League Cup semi-final. In November 2010 the Indian company VH Group bought Blackburn Rovers under the name of Venky's London Limited for £23 a million. The new owners sacked Allardyce and replaced him with first-team coach Steve Kean, initially on a temporary basis. In December 2011 it was announced that Blackburn Rovers posted an annual pre-tax loss of £18.6 million for the year ending June 30, 2011. Despite this the owners of Blackburn Rovers provided assurances over the continued funding of the club, even if they were relegated. On May 7, 2012, The club was relegated to the Championship after being defeated at home by Wigan Athletic at home in the penultimate game of the season, ending 11 years of being in the English Premier League. Players, current squad, as of July 15, 2014, note, flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Please note that players highlighted with symbol denotes players transfer listed. For recent transfers, see 2014 Euro 15 Blackburn Rovers F.C. season. Out on loan, note, flags indicate national team as defined under FIFA eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-FIFA nationality. Reserve Academy squad. Notable former and existing players. For a list of notable Blackburn Rovers players in sortable table format, see List of Blackburn Rovers FC players. Awards, Goal of the Season. The Peter White Memorial Trophy is awarded to the player winning the Goal of the Season competition, which started in season 2000 Euro 01. Winners are as follows: Player of the Season,